Hello students, this is Kanupriya, PhD Geography, and we have started with our chapter which was Planning and Sustainable Development in Indian Context. This is the chapter of Book 1, Fundamentals of Human Geography. So let's discuss the rest of the topics of this chapter that we'll covering in the coming days. Today's first topic is Sustainable Development. Dear students, you are already aware of this word that is development. You have studied in your chapter 4 that is human development. So today we'll discuss about development first and then we'll understand about sustainable development. So let's start with this. The term development is generally used to describe the state of particular societies and the process of changes experienced by them. As we have already studied, that development is the qualitative change that occurs in any place, in any society, in any country or in any region. During a fairly large period of human history, the state of the societies has largely been determined by the interaction processes between human societies and their biophysical environment. So basically, development of any region or any society depends upon the interaction between environment and human beings. The processes of human environment interaction depends upon the level of technology and institutions nurtured by a society. So basically, the interaction between environment and human beings depends upon the availability of technology. While the technology and institutions have helped in increasing the pace of human environment interaction, the momentum thus generated in turn has accelerated technological progress and transformation and creation of institutions. So basically, technology helped in the interaction of human beings and their immediate environment, and which has brought transformations in the society. Hence, development is a multidimensional concept and it signifies the positive, irreversible transformation of the economy, society, and environment. So that we have already discussed that development is a qualitative change whose value is always positive. So it is an irreversible change, it is a positive change of a particular economy, society, or environment. So basically, development depends upon technological availability, because of which there will be a good interaction between human beings and their immediate environment. So this is the introduction related to development. We'll continue with this. The concept of development is dynamic and has evolved during the second half of 20th century. In the post-World War II era, the concept of development was synonymous to economic growth, which is measured in terms of temporal increase in gross national product, that is GNP, and per capita income or per capita consumption. This we have discussed in income approach, in which we have studied that development or human development is related to income. Initially, it was the oldest approach, income approach. So basically, development of any region was considered as a synonym to its economic growth, which is related to its per capita income or gross national product or per capita consumption. So development word was related to it. But even the countries having high economic growth experienced speedy rise in poverty because of its unequal distribution. So this definition was not correct, because there are certain countries which have economic growth but still they were facing poverty because of its unequal distribution. That is, the resources were not equally distributed to each and everyone living in a particular society or in a particular country. So this definition was considered in the post-World War II, but after that certain changes were brought in the definition of development. So let's discuss. So in 1970s, the phrases such as redistribution with growth and growth and equity were incorporated in the definition of development. While dealing with the questions related to redistribution and equity, It was realized that the concept of development cannot be restricted to economic affair only. It should also include issues like improving the well-being and living standard of people, availing of the health, education and equality of opportunity, and ensuring political and civil rights. So basically, people were not happy with the definition of development which was related to economic growth alone. Some other things were also included in the definition of development, which includes the well being of the people, the standard of living of the people, health facilities, education facilities, equality of opportunities to everyone, and political and civil rights to people. By 1980s, development emerged as a concept encapsulating widespread improvement in social as well as material well-being of all in a society. So all these aspects were included in the definition of development to understand the transformation of a society or a particular region. The notion of sustainable development emerged in the wake of general rise in the awareness of environmental issues in the late 60s in Western world. It reflected the concern of people about undesirable effects of industrial development on the environment. The publication of The Population Bomb by Ehrlich in 1968 and The Limits to Growth by Meadows and others in 1972 further raised the level of fear among environmentalists in particular and people in general. This sets the scenario for the emergence of new models of development under a broad phrase, sustainable development. So basically during the 1960s in the Western world, this concept of sustainable development emerged. It has emerged because people have started facing the environmental issues and environmental problems. Moreover, there were certain publications, that is Population Bomb by Ehrlich in 1968, Limits to Growth by Meadows in 1972. They have raised the level of fear among environmentalists and people related to the various issues that they were facing during that time, which led to the development of sustainable development concept. Concerned with the growing opinion of world community on the environmental issues, the United Nations established a World Commission on Environment and Development, that is WCED, which was headed by the Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland. The commission gave its report, which was also known as Brundtland Report, entitled Our Common Future in 1987. This is very important from MCQ, from the point of MCQs. It can come in the board exams in the form of MCQs, that which commission gave its report related to sustainable development, that will be Brundtland Report, and who was entitled as Our Common Future in 1987. The report defines sustainable development as a development that meets the need of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So this was the definition given by this commission, that is Brundtland Commission, related to sustainable development. Sustainable development concept gave its significance, gain its significance because of the emergence of various environmental issues. After that, United Nations established WCED, that is World Commission on Environment and Development, headed by Gro Harlem Brundtland, and after that they gave a report, that is Brundtland Report, which was entitled as Our Common Future in 1987. So this was related to development and in particularly sustainable development. Now comes the second topic, which is Indira Gandhi Canal Command Area. Indira Gandhi Canal, which was known as Rajasthan Canal, is one of the largest canal systems in India. It was conceived by Kanwar Sen in 1948 and the canal project was launched on 31st of March 1958. This canal originates at Harike Barrage in Punjab and it runs parallel to Pakistan border at an average distance of 40 kilometers in Thar Desert of Rajasthan. The proposed length of this canal was 9,060 kilometers, which caters to the irrigation needs of a total cultivable command area of 19.63 lakh hectares. Out of the total command area, about 70% was envisaged to be irrigated by flow system and the rest is by lift system. The construction work of the canal system has been carried out through two stages, that is stage 1 and stage 2. The command area of stage 1 lies in Ganganagar, Hanumangarh and northern part of Bikaner districts. It has a gently undulating topography and its cultivable command area is 5.53 lakh hectares. The command area of stage 2 is spread over Bikaner, Jaisalmer, Bharmer, Jodhpur, Nagaur and Churu districts, covering cultivable command area of 14.10 lakh hectares. So basically this command area was carried out, or this Indira Gandhi canal is carried out in two stages, that is stage 1 and stage 2. Stage 1 was completed in 1960s and stage 2 was completed in 1980s. Irrigation in stage 1 command area of the canal was introduced in 1960s, whereas the command area of stage 2 began receiving irrigation in mid 1980s. The Indira Gandhi Canal command area was proved to be very beneficial for that area because it has transformed its ecology, economy and society. It has influenced the environmental conditions of the region both positively as well as negatively. The availability of the soil moisture for a longer period of time and various afforestation programs and pasture development programs have resulted in greening the land. This has also helped in reducing wind erosion and siltation of canal systems. But the intensive irrigation and excessive use of water has led to the emergence of two twin environmental problems, that is waterlogging and soil salinity. So this is a very important question from exam point of view. It often comes like this: what are the twin environmental problems faced in the Rajasthan area because of Indira Gandhi Canal command area? So the answer will be the two twin environmental problems that emerged in this command area were waterlogging and soil salinity. The second part of the question includes what are the measures taken for the sustainable development in this particular command area. So this we will discuss in next topic. Introduction of canal irrigation has brought perceptible transformation in the agricultural economy of the region. Soil moisture has been a limiting factor in successful growth of crops in this area. Spread of canal irrigation has led to increase in cultivated area and intensity of cropping. The traditional crops that were grown in this particular area like gram, bajra, jowar, they all have been replaced by wheat, cotton, groundnut and rice. This was all possible because of the irrigation facilities provided by this canal. This intensive irrigation, no doubt, initially has led to tremendous increase in agriculture and livestock productivity. This also has caused waterlogging and soil salinity, and thus in the long run it hampers the sustainability of agriculture. So basically Indira Gandhi Canal command area has affected the environment both positively as well as negatively. It helps in greening the land, it helps in replacing the crops, it helps in improving the cultivated area and agricultural productivity, but in turn it has also created problems like waterlogging and soil salinity. So in the next topic we'll discuss about the measures that can be taken for the sustainable development of this particular area. Now comes the measures that can be taken for the promotion of sustainable development. First, the first requirement is the strict implementation of water management policy. The canal project envisages protective irrigation in stage 1 and extensive irrigation of crops and pasture development in stage 2nd. Stage 1 that we have already understood, it includes Ganganagar, it includes Hanumangarh and some parts of Bikaner. And in stage 2, we includes Bikaner, Nagaur, Churu, Jodhpur, Bharmer districts. So what it says that there should be a strict implementation of water management policy. It should encourage protective irrigation in stage 1. Protective irrigation is that irrigation in which water will be provided to the crops when there is deficiency of water. But in the stage 2nd, it focuses on extensive irrigation of crops along with pasture development. Second one is, in general, the cropping pattern should not include water intensive crops. Those crops which requires more water, that should not be encouraged, that should not be included in the cropping pattern. It should adhere to, and people should be encouraged to grow plantation crops such as citrus fruits. The CAD program, that is Command Area Development Programs, such as lining of water courses, land development, leveling of the land, that is equal distribution of canal water in the command area of outlet, shall be effectively implemented to reduce the conveyance loss of water. It means there should be leveling of land so that the water should be available to each place and it comes out without wastage. Fourth one is the areas which are affected by waterlogging and soil salinity, they shall be reclaimed. Fifth one, the eco development through afforestation, shelter belt plantation and pasture development is necessary, particularly in the fragile environment of stage 2nd. So there should be programs like afforestation, that means planting of more and more trees. There should be shelter belt plantation, there should be development of pasture. So this will be helpful in the fragile environment of stage 2nd. The social sustainability in the region can be achieved only if the land allottees having poor economic background are provided adequate financial and institutional support for cultivation of land. So this also includes the social sustainability of the people of that particular region. What it says that the people having poor economic background should be provided adequate financial as well as institutional support so that they can cultivate their land. And the last one is the economic sustainability. What it says that it should not be attained only because of agriculture and animal husbandry. That means people should not be dependent upon agriculture and animal husbandry or agriculture and allied activities. They have to develop other sectors of economy also. This will lead to the diversification of the economic base, and there will be establishment of functional linkages between basic villages, agro service centers and market centers. So this is how we can achieve economic sustainability as well as social sustainability. So the other sectors of economy should also be developed along with agriculture and other allied activities. So this is all for today. If you have any doubt, please come up with your doubts. Thank you so much.